Hey everyone, and welcome to the next part of unit conversion. We've been dealing a lot with the areas of various objects and how to convert them between millimeters, centimeters, whatever it may be. Now we're going to move on a bit to the volume of things. It's basically the same principle as of what we've been doing, but a lot of people get confused and worried by volume rather than area. I'm just going to run through this, and hopefully what you should see why it pretty much works the same. If we look at this drawing, it's meant to be a cube, although it sort of gives you a bit of an optical illusion if you look at it for too long. It's 5 centimeter by 5 centimeter by 5 centimeter cube. Hopefully you'll be able to see the 3 dimensions. Okay, so to work out the volume of anything, we times the 3 dimensions. So 5 times, it should be centimeters, 5 centimeters times 5 centimeters times 5 centimeters equals 5 times 5, so 125 centimeters cubed. Okay, hopefully we're all happy with how we got there. You can check it on your calculators. And the centimeters cubed comes from there's 3 centimeters times together gives you the centimeters to the power of 3. Or centimeters cubed. Okay, so say we want this. We don't want this as centimeters. We want it as millimeters. Follow the same principle as we were before. So how many millimeters are there in 1 centimeter? So in 1 centimeter, there are, or equals 10 millimeters. Okay, so it's same as the very first problem we done. 1 centimeter equals 10 centimeters. Okay, if we use a little cube here, like we did with the red square, we can see how it all works. Okay, so we know 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters. So what's 5 centimeters? Okay, that's just 5 times 10. Okay, 5 times a conversion factor of 10 millimeters, 50 millimeters. Okay, and the same for all the sides, so 50 millimeters, and again 50 millimeters. This should actually be this dimension here. I've just realised put it on the wrong one. Okay, so again we just transfer it from centimeters. Say exactly the same principle. 50 times 50 times 50. These are millimeters. Millimeters equals 1, 2, 5, 0, 0, 0 millimeters cubed. Okay. Again, we can't be drawing out cubes every time you want. I mean, this cube took me a while to draw just on the computer, so you don't want to be drawing out cubes in the middle of your test or whenever you're using it, if you're using it in your work or whatever. You don't want to be drawing that out every single time. It's just not practical. So we go exactly the same principle as we went before. Okay, so we know, first thing we want to do is we want to write this millimeters. What's that in scientific notation? Exactly the same as before. So 1 centimeter equals how many millimeters in scientific notation? It's 1 times 10 to the 1 millimeters. Exactly the same. No different at all. No need to panic. Okay, we've got this in millimeters. We know 1 centimeter equals 1 times 10 to the 1 millimeters. So what's that cubed? And you remember in the last presentation I said, think about why I kept circling that the squared sign. Could that be applied here? Well, yeah, well, of course it can. It's exactly the same. We want to know it in cubed. Okay, exactly the same as we done with the squared. You take this one, the cube part, and the power in scientific notation of your conversion factor, and you multiply together. Exactly the same. And this time we're times by 3 instead of 2. So 1 centimeter cubed equals 1 times 10 to the 3 millimeters cubed. Is that, you're thinking, well, yeah, it's exactly the same as before. It's quite easy. But how do I apply that to 125? Well, exactly the same as you did before. You take your 125 centimeters cubed equals 125 times 1 times 10 to the power of 3 millimeters cubed. Okay, so we can multiply out those brackets, and what's that give us? That gives us 125 times 10 to the 3 millimeters cubed. Okay, as we can see here, this isn't in scientific notation. A lot of the answers want to give you in scientific notation. From here you can go either way. You can actually get the figure, you can add the noughts onto the end, or you can write it in scientific notation. So how we would change this to scientific notation? Remembering that in scientific notation, the first number's got to be between 1 and 10. So all we do is write 1.25. And how many decimal places we move that? We moved that 2, haven't we? Okay, so we just add that 2 onto this 3 here to the 5 millimeters cubed. Simple as that. Exactly the same principle as before. No change. The only difference is this time you times it by 3 instead of timesing it by 2. Okay, if we work through another quick example. Get rid of all this. All this. Okay, say this time we don't want to change it to millimeters, we want to change it to let's say meters. Okay, exactly the same principle as before. We know this is 125, oh, wrong colour, never mind, centimeters cubed. Okay, so that's 5 times 5 times 5, 125 centimeters cubed. This time we want to change it to millimeters, so to meters. How many meters are there in a centimeter? Again, exactly the same as before. So 1 centimeter equals 0.01 meters. Okay, we figured that out before. Hopefully you're comfortable with that. Again, what's that in scientific notation? That is 1 times 10 to the minus 2 meters. Okay, remember minus 2 because it's going backwards and making that number bigger. So it's minus 2, or 1 over. And we just carry out exactly the same procedure as before. So we've got 125. Sorry, we need to convert this to centimeters to meters squared, don't we? My mistake, sorry. So what's the conversion factor here? We're cubing, aren't we? We're cubing. Cubing to the minus 2. You take them together. What's that give us? That gives us a minus 6, doesn't it? Okay. So 1 centimeter cubed equals 1 times 10 to the minus 6 meters cubed. Exactly the same principle. Again, instead of times by 2, we're times by 3. Minus 2 times 3, minus 6. So now we know our 1 centimeter cubed equals 1 times 10 to the minus 6 meters cubed. You're exactly the same as before. 125 centimeters cubed equals 125 times 1 times 10 to the minus 6 meters cubed. Okay, once you get the hang of it, you don't have to write this out all the time. I mean, when I'm doing a question, I don't write 125 times 1 times 10 to the minus 6. I just do it all in one go. But while you're getting used to it, while you're practicing, doing your practice questions from supplementary papers or the online practice exam, it's good to write it out so you figure out where it's coming from. Okay, so what's if we expand out these brackets, what's it give us? It gives 125 times 10 to the minus 6. meters cubed. I've got 1 times 125. What's this in scientific notation? Okay, moving the decimal point up 2. As it's a minus, it's obviously it's going to go up. Don't make the mistake of going down just because it's a negative. It's 1.25 times 10 to the minus 4 meters cubed. And there we go. There's your answer. Again, feel free to check this on your calculators. I'll see you in the next presentation.